Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. Welcome to the flip side of adversity. I'm Dr. Veirdre Jackson, your CEO and host. And I want us to remember the core of what the flip side of adversity is all about. We're not just talking about surviving. We actually talk about rising. And tonight, we are blessed with a woman who actually embodies that rise. She's known as B Mack or Bridgett Mack. She has taken life's hardest hits, heartbreak, loss, rejection, even a rare heart attack. And instead of waiting for life to hand her something different, she made a decision to shift everything. When life won't give you lemons, she says to grow your own. Her story is raw. It's faithful, and it's proof that breaking points can become birthing points when God's grace steps in. Through her writing, her ministry, and her voice, B Mack has been planting seeds of healing and hope across cities and digital spaces, showing women what happens when we stop hiding our pain and start telling the truth. So tonight, we're kicking off our next She Shine episode series with leaning into her journey. And I want to ask you the question, what could become possible if you stopped waiting and started growing your own? Welcome to the flip side of adversity, Bridgett Mack.
Hello.
You just delivered a powerful word as a keynote to the She Shines conference, and we're here talking about She Matters. And I want to first just thank you for taking a moment to sit with us.
Thank you for having me.
On the flip side of adversity. And you have a grow your own mindset. Mm-hmm. Your motto is, when life won't give you lemons, grow your own.
Right.
Can you share with us how your lived experience has turned or connected to that motto?
Well, I didn't grow up with much. I come from a hard-working middle-class family, but I watched my mom and dad work really hard just to keep their heads above water. And so we had to learn how to improvise a lot. And as I was telling them, there's a saying that says that when life only give you lemons. Well, we didn't have the lemons, but my granddaddy was a farmer. We had seeds. So I tell people all the time, when life won't even give you the lemon and you have seeds, plant and grow your own. When people tell you no, and you know that that is what God has destined you to do, trust Him and create your own door to walk through. Open your own window to receive the blessings. God will give you everything that you need to succeed, and He's done just that. Yes. Everything that we've accomplished, my husband and I, in life, in ministry, and even in my business, we started from the ground. It started from a seed.
Yes. So I feel like in this season and time, there are so many women who are bombarded by darkness, by plans that they did not plan, nor did they want. And so when you think about growing, I've also been talking to women about pivoting. When you think about She Shines, what do you hope women understand about, even in this hard season, we can still grow and we can still pivot?
Okay.
What do you want them to understand?
That even when you're going through your darkest hour and you're afraid of everybody seeing what you're going through, it's because you're shining. You can't see nothing in the
that's right.
darkness. So if you're going through and people are looking at what you're going through and what you're experiencing, it's because you're shining. And that moment, God is going to use you, that test that you're going through, to become a testimony. People are going to watch. Let them watch you overcome this. And the same people that look down and the same people that thought that, they were going through the same thing, because there are some people who were talked off the ledge because of what you survived. So even when you're going through in your dark hour, you're still shining. So you shine through Christ and know that he's going to make everything all right no matter what.
That just hit my soul when you said, when you are in darkness and people are looking at you, it's because you're shining. It means that light
is still on you.
It's still on you. And so I did my homework, turning pain into purpose. In your book, I Quit, you wrote about facing heartbreak, loss, and even rejection from the very place meant to be your refuge, which was the church.
Yes.
What did that process of actually finding your healing and rediscovering your voice through those experiences actually teach you about God's timing and his grace?
Well, it opened my eyes, because before that, I was kind of judgmental when it came to church hurt, because a lot of people say that they weren't going to church because of things they experienced. And I did not come from a body of Christ where you were kicked out. And so when we were kicked out of our last church, it was because the leadership there was not up to par. And so it opened my eyes to, okay, this is really what's going on to the church, because I came from a really good church home. So I was I was a total novice to everything that was going on behind the scenes. And so God used that to open up our eyes and then become a place of healing. He allowed us, just like Job, he allowed us to feel that pain so that we can minister to the pain of others.
Yeah.
And so that opened up my eyes to what's really going on, to what the Bible really means about, perilous times in the last days and people being deceived. And so we turned around and we just, it almost took me out of here, because I needed that place of healing. And God said the church, body is there as support, but there's going to come a time when it's just going to be me and you. And so that was my time of just me and God. That was our family's time of just me and God. That way, when they're during the great falling away, even if you fall to the wayside, I'm still going to hold on to God, because it's always been about me and him.
Can I lean in? Because that resonates with me. I have been studying peace and grace in this season. What was something you realized about God's grace in that season?
That he loves us so much that he will allow us to feel pain to grow us and better us. I mean, when I gave birth to my daughter, that hurt. Those contractions were no joke. But he was birthing something in all of us. And it was his grace that kept us through it all. But he loved us so much that he said, you know what, I see Bridgett, I see her family like I saw Job, and I'm going to grace her through this, because I know that she's not going to shut up. They're not going to shut up. They're going to teach us. So I understood that God was allowing that, kind of like when we allow our children to learn certain lessons. He was allowing us to learn that lesson so that we can become a teacher later.
We so often want to avoid the painful things,
don't we?
And we get angry, but it's actually also that he's trusting you with that.
Right.
And he's going to give you the grace to be able to use it for another purpose. Which leads me to my last question in connection to legacy. So legacy, love, and leadership. We're doing, on the flip side, in 2026, we're talking about the significance of healthy leaders creating a contagious, healthy culture. And so you've been married for 27 years.
29.
29.
I got to update. Yes, it'll be 30 next year.
Yes, celebration. So 29 years, you've raised a family, you've led church, you've continued to empower others through your voice and your writing. What's one life lesson you hope every woman takes from your journey that will help her actually walk more boldly?
Don't forget to push. Even if you've never given birth, you have to push in order for whatever it is that you're hoping God for to take life.
Yeah.
And with the pushing, you get tired, it's going to hurt, you're going to feel alone, you're going to feel like you can't do this, but push, press. You got to press and you've got to push. There were so many times where I almost gave up, but God kept telling me to push because I'm birthing something in you. So no matter what it is, babies, never forget to push.
Never forget to push.
Never forget to push.
That resonates with the flip side of adversity, because we tell people that just because you've gone through something doesn't mean that that's your destiny.
Right.
That's not your stopping point. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing. But I heard a pastor say, when you're going through hell, you don't stop and pitch a tent. You keep going. It's hot. Girl,
hot.
Go with the air conditioning
Yes,
there.
keep it moving.
Right, keep it moving.
And keep pushing.
Right.
Bridgett Mack, can I just say thank you?
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
From the front of the church all the way to the back of the church, you have spread light and joy and a true word for all of us to remember that we matter and that we're here to shine. So I thank you for taking this time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
And safe travels home.
Thank you. I got to get back to Georgia.
So Bridgett Mack has helped us recognize when you're going through dark times and people are looking at you, that actually means you're shining. So keep on going. And most importantly, continue to live bright. So our next guest, Katina Christmas Robertson, talks to women who feel like they're unseen, undervalued, or even unsure, and reminds them to soar. So we're stepping into this conversation that so many of us know all too well. The conversation of imposter syndrome, that quiet voice that whispers, you're not ready, you can't do it, you don't belong, who do you think you are? But let me tell you, Coach K affectionately reaches out and becomes real with us after spending 20 years proving that voice completely wrong. After wandering through her first 5 corporate years, feeling all of those things, underutilized, underestimated, she flipped her own script and built a system that now helps others tear down the barriers between them and their brilliance. She's a leader, she's a strategist, she's a mindset mentor, and she's right here on the flip side, preparing us to embrace what is possible. Her talk will walk us through the conversation, the commitment, the bold command to stop shrinking, stop doubting, stop disqualifying yourself. God has placed you in that room on purpose. So I want to ask you, what would your life look like if you stopped questioning your worth long enough to start walking in it? Let's listen to what Coach K has to say. I am so excited that you said yes to sitting on the couch, and we are doing a special edition here as She Shines under the theme She Matters. When you think about the significance of that theme in this season and time, what resonates with you?
So what resonates with me, I coach women with imposter syndrome. And so a lot of times when you sit around a table and you look at people and they are so far along. They seem to have it so well put together that you minimize your own voice and you don't speak up. But God made only one you, and so you matter. Every she around the table matters. And even if you don't put it together the way in your mind it should be polished, it's still uniquely you and it needs to be heard.
And Minister Christmas, I want you to speak to women in ministry around this topic as well.
So it's funny because my dad was taught that women don't preach. So when I had this call, I'm saying, hey, Dad, my most trusted voice, I'm telling him what I hear God saying, and he's telling me I'm hearing wrong. It's incorrect. So that could have shut me down. But instead, that passion was so strong, I just did what I do without a title. And I developed my craft, not knowing I was developing my craft, and the Holy Spirit had to tell him. And I think of all of the lives that before I got a title that I impacted, and they come back from college with their husbands and their wives and their children, and they say, I made a difference in their lives. What if I would have let that make me feel like I didn't matter, waiting for a title to do what God called me to do? So for woman that you feel something powerful on the inside that God is calling you to do, just do it.
Oh, I tell you, the opportunity to really walk in what God is telling you to do unapologetically is so freeing.
Yes.
What words would you place on it for women who are still kind of timid about it? What words would you give them in connection to it?
You don't know how bound you are until you let your gifts spill out at Target. I didn't say Target, but wherever it is that you are, the grocery store, at the corner, at a light. Let your light shine. And when you let it out, you realize you've been holding it in. It's like when you're holding your breath and don't realize you've been holding your breath, how releasing it feels to let it go. So just let it out. It's in there for a reason.
For a reason. And you're holding back for someone who's actually, you are on assignment to impact.
So they're sitting there waiting for their answer, and you are their answer, but you're waiting for somebody's description, somebody's permission. You don't need permission to shine, lady. You were born to shine. God knew you and put shine in you before you were created in your mother's belly. So shine because somebody's waiting.
And you have shined as an author. Can you tell us about your book?
My book is called It's Time to Soar. You'd be over it by now if you just let go. And it's a practical guide to getting unstuck. Sometimes we don't know that we're stuck. And like I said, when you release and you exhale, you're like, I was holding my breath. And then the people that say you mattered and that you impacted them, what if I would have shut up? What if I would have stayed stuck? And that's what that book is about, is just helping people see where they're stuck and become their authentic selves and pour out on others.
That concept of soaring is one in which it could be intimidating for a woman, because I've been in rooms when I've said the words that it's time for you to be bold, and I've literally watched women be like, I can't do that. So when you're telling women to soar, what does that mean?
So you can't just throw soar on them. And one of my favorite chapters in the book is tethered. And tethered is where you're up halfway, you're hovering, and there's a tie to you, and you think you're soaring. So you've got to start with what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel free, what are you called to do, and what stops you. And when they realize what stops them and limits them, they realize I was just kind of hovering above the earth. I wasn't really soaring. And when they begin to dream, you've got to teach them how to dream. And when you begin to dream, then that's where you meet God's word. That's where you meet God's vision for you. And you really begin to take off limitless.
Katina, what are you dreaming about right now?
Oh my God. What I am dreaming about is getting people free en masse. Like I ultimately want to coach coaches to take the word and help people put a mirror up to themselves and say, I'm phenomenal, I'm incredible, and I've been stuck way too long. I'm mad at myself a little bit that I waited and I sat and I shrank. I am dreaming for me to be so big, not for me, but because of what God put in me. There are people drawn to my voice that have been waiting for me to soar. And so my dream is to help people soar. And they tell a friend, and they tell a friend until the impact is global.
So I had an experience years ago. It probably had to have been almost 10 or 15 years ago, where I was in a church community and I was there assigned to speak. And I was sharing about showing up bold, recognizing that you are enough, not separate from God, but that you don't have to feel like you're less than. And it literally was shunned. Like these women were upset with me. When you hear the opportunity, or when you're actually sharing with women that there's a big, bold assignment in you, how do you help those in ministry and church communities kind of release that I'm supposed to be low mentality?
So you have to help them unlearn it. And you can't unlearn a lie without the truth. And so I give them the truth and I give it to them in increments. Depending on our time, it's incrementally, and get them to begin to confess and to begin to say things that are not risky, things that they're good at, things that people compliment them on, and then talk about the impact. So what if we doubled that impact? What if somebody loves your food and you make them feel welcome? Now I want you to think about the homeless person that hasn't been loved. And now they're starting to see that I'm an answer to someone that's homeless. And if you incrementally allow them to unlearn the lie, they'll start to live in the truth.
Amen. So I know people, and this is like a quick whip conversation that I've been having all day with guests and speakers and leaders. And I know they've been like, "Whoo, well, I need that book," or "She is speaking to me." Tell people how they can find you, how they can get access to the book.
They can find me at KatinaChristmasRobertson.com. And my book is on Amazon. There's also a link on my website. And my podcast is on YouTube and all the other, like Spotify and all the other channels. And it's Time to Soar, Getting Unstuck with Coach Katina.
Yeah. I'm a strong believer that God orchestrates moments for the conversations we have on the flip side to land in the hands of a woman right at the moment she needs to hear it. If you could kind of center yourself and think about that woman who has been feeling under a weight right now, it's not, she's not even thinking about soaring because the weight is too heavy. I just want you to spend the last 30 seconds just talking directly to her.
Woman of God, I want you to lift up your head and know that you are God's creation. And He created you with so much goodness that you've been too busy to see. I'm giving you permission to take a moment to look back over your life and see what God did for you. He doesn't do that for just anybody. He does it for people that He plans to strategically place in others' lives. What do you do that makes people smile? What have you done that have made people feel easier about life? You are their answer. And I believe that this is a time when you begin to celebrate who God made you, that you will begin to exhale and then inhale His goodness, and you will begin to see how He created you, and you will begin to attract even more people. And it feels like they want things from you, but it's because they see something that maybe you don't even see. I want you to know that you're bigger than you think, and I want to thank you for everybody that you've already impacted, and in advance for all the people that you're about to change their life. Lift up your head, daughter of God. There is greatness on the inside of you.
Amen. There you have it, another amazing conversation. And did we share the your website and how they could get the book one last time?
My website is KatinaChristmasRobertson.com. And the book is on Amazon, and it's also linked on my website.
Thank you for sitting on the couch with me.
Thanks for having me. I am so honored.
And coordinating with the color theme.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I have a?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So if you've listened to any of the conversations we've been having, you know that sometimes life starts quaking, and your first instinct is to brace yourself, to hold on tight, to fear the shaking. But what if, just what if the quaking isn't coming to shake you up, but to shake something out of you? Ayana Fernandes Pilgrim teaches us that transition doesn't always wait for your permission. Sometimes God allows the ground to move beneath your feet because he's ready for you to pivot, to shift, to release what you actually can't control. So it's time to create that transition. This isn't the season to actually begin to shrink. It's the season to redesign your path. And with today's realities and the opportunity, yes, I'm saying opportunity, to turn the shaking into a stepping boldly into your future, you've actually been quietly preparing for. The quaking is not your undoing. It's your awakening. And sis, it's time for you to move. Welcome to the flip side of adversity. Ayana Fernandes Pilgrim. Yes, I was practicing, y'all.
Thanks for your welcome.
I am so excited to be able to have you on the couch. We're on location as She Shines, under the leadership of Robin Maddox, and her theme this year is She Matters. And so I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
And why saying yes to She Shines and this theme was important to you.
Yes, thank you for that. First of all, thank you for this invitation to be with you today in fellowship. I appreciate the invitation. I was privileged to meet Robin a few months ago, and she is a force. Yes. We actually go to the same hair salon, Miracles Hair Salon. And when I met her, we just hit it off. And we started to talk about each other's work. And she mentioned She Shines and what she was doing and the vision that she received. And there was such alignment in the work that she is doing and the work that I am doing. So I am the founder and CEO of the Talent Cornerstone Co. And it's a company that's really called for such a time as this. We know so many Black women are out of work. We know so many people in general across this nation are being impacted by transitions, right, of many kinds, but significant transitions. And so I'm here to really help to alleviate some of the pressure and the stress that comes with that. So I offer career and life transformational coaching. So it's a perfect alignment to be here with She Shines.
Not only a perfect alignment to be here, but as you said, this is the time. Over 300,000 Black women have been forced out of the workforce.
Yes.
And being able to find trusted guidance is priceless.
Yes.
When you're working with someone who is in the throes of a transition during a time where it feels like it's so dark and heavy, what are 3 things you're telling people to really consider as they're making a pivot for such a time as this?
Yeah, it's so critical. I love the question because there are practical strategies that we can use in this moment, and we can glean inspiration from our ancestors who had to do so much under such pressure. Right? So I've created this program called Unbound and Unbothered, which is a nod to my Bayesian ancestor, right? Shirley Chisholm, who told us back in the day to be unbought and unbossed, right? But right now we have to be unbound and unbothered. We have to be concerned, yes, very concerned, but not consumed. by all that is happening. So my advice to people is really lean into first creating a powerful foundation of spiritual fortitude, not resilience, because sometimes that means you have to take it all. Spiritual fortitude, your spiritual practices, make sure those are intact. Your prayer, talking to God, right? Your meditation, listening to God, doing that first, but then also engaging in self-advocacy in this moment. So many people, as you mentioned, were pushed out. Some ethically resigned. Some were laid off, right? So for different reasons, they're out of the workforce. But we hear a lot of people right now talking about the quiet quitting that's happening in the workforce or the quiet cracking. I really feel like for Black women, this is a loud quaking. It's a different thing that's happening for us, but it's an invitation to get us closer to our purpose if we let it.
Yeah.
And so spiritual fortitude, self-advocacy, boundaries, doing those things to really create a peaceful fence around you are going to help you in this moment to get through it, but not just make it through and survive, but thrive, right?
You just brought something up in me, but also in my mind. I was having a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about how even in this season where regardless of the scenario, this could actually be a moment for women to do the thing that they have been putting on the back burner.
Yes.
Instead of staying in a place of being depressed or feeling like something was done to you.
Yes.
This could actually be the catapult moment for you to do the thing, whatever that thing is that you've been putting to the side. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. I think that is so well said. And that's why I said it's a quaking. It's a lot that's happening at once, but we know spiritually, right? In the kingdom economy, it's different. So when those things happen, it's to agitate us for a reason. We're prepared for it, right?
Yes.
We're prepared for it.
Yes.
We're prepared. We can meet this moment. And if we choose to, it's what you just said. You just hit on something so important. It's a mindset. The thought patterns that we have, the limiting beliefs that we've maybe inherited or that we've sat in for a while that hold us back. What I'm saying with unbound and unbothered is no, you have a choice. Some of them might be hard choices, but you can make tough choices and God can show you amazing things. You can start a business like myself. I was working in corporate DEI and global talent acquisition work for 21 years, helping to create new inclusive hiring systems. And then I left about 1.5 years ago, and I haven't looked back because God knew that there was a higher purpose for me to help workers in this season to transformation, to life and career transformation, right? So we say for the woman in the She Shines community, you can be unbound and unbothered. You can choose today, right? You can choose today that you're not going to be held back by these limiting thoughts and beliefs and relationships anymore. You're going to lean in to just being unbothered, being concerned but not consumed.
Oh, I love all of it. And I know our listeners are like, wow, who is she and where can I follow her? Tell us, give us your details. How can people connect with you?
So happy to share it. Thank you for the invitation. So you can find me online at thetalentcornerstone.com and then also on social channels at The Talent Cornerstone. So glad to be with you and hope to connect with many of you online. I'm just launching my Unbound and Unbothered initial cohort. And I hope many of you will join. If you go to the website, you can learn more.
For such a time as this.
Yes, amen.
Oh, thank you, Ayana, for being a part of our Flip Side Conversations.
Thank you.
And I want you to be on one of our episodes where we have more time to be able to really unpack, because I feel like there's such a timely conversation for us to have in the studio.
I would love it.
Awesome.
I'd love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, a nonprofit leader, an administrator, the times we're in right now, how many of you would agree there's an abundance of scarcity? We've talked about, even in these times, we have to be willing to soar, to drop imposter syndrome, to recognize how to pivot, and to understand that the shaking isn't there to shake you apart, but it's actually to shake out your next out of you. We have the privilege of hearing from a woman whose leadership has shaped policy, philanthropy, and community impact for decades. Donna Frisby-Greenwood, her work as a leader who has centered her mission around creating opportunities for people to thrive. She's going to talk to us about remembering that you matter. We will prioritize everyone else, but forget about ourselves. And when we center ourselves on recognizing that we matter too, it sets us up for the strong fight for opportunity, access, and visibility, and using our voice. Donna has spent her career standing at the intersection of research, policy, and real lives, and making sure that data doesn't just sit on the shelf, but that it actually creates change. So as we listen to and lean into this conversation, she has shown us what it means when women lead through transitions to create transformation with purpose and power. Well, Donna Frisby-Greenwood, welcome to the flip side of adversity. We are so excited that you're sitting on the couch with us here as She Shines, where the conference theme is She Matters. So to get us started, as I've asked everyone, what drew you to saying yes to a conference theme of She Matters?
But She Matters, I think too often as African American women, we put ourselves last. Everything and everybody comes before us. Our spouses, our children, our grandchildren, right? And so, to have something that says She Matters, I matter, you matter, we matter, like that is really important because sometimes we forget about ourselves. And I'm finding the last few years I have been, my husband's been ill for the last 10 years. And it's not something you think about having to take care of a spouse, in your 40s, and then, in your late 40s, having your spouse get sick. That's not something you fathom. But at the same time, my mother was becoming very ill. And so my mother passed 3 years ago, and that's been hard for me to get over. But one of the things is that I now am getting back to reclaiming myself. And because I'm not taking care of a sick spouse and a sick mom, and being there for my young adult children, right? And so now I am I'm making it a point to make sure that I'm caring for me. And so this conference always allows me to meet other people that are trying to do the same and provide me tools to help me do that.
And you are delivering a session here
Yeah.
at the conference. Tell us about your title and what are you going to be talking about?
Yeah, so my title is Pivot with a Purpose.
All right now. If there's anything we need to learn how to do in this season.
Yes. And so we were talking about the nonprofit sector in Philadelphia and how, and across the nation, how really nonprofits are taking a big hit in this administration. Whether it's the lack of federal funds or federal funds being withdrawn or taken from your organization, research dollars being withdrawn, and how that's impacting the nonprofit sector and how we can pivot our organizations and how we can figure out how to raise money in other ways or redo our business models. And so that's what we talked about, helping those who are running nonprofits and working at nonprofits think about how they can pivot to manage through these times.
Such a a important and significant topic. I think about how many nonprofits are holding on because they're doing good work.
Yes.
And leaders are holding on because they've got to hold the staff together, hold the vision together. What message would you share with a leader who is struggling today?
And we talked, and that's part of what we talked about in my session. And first, don't do it alone, right? There's lots of networks of nonprofit leaders. Find a network to be a part of. Talk to your peers, hear how they're holding on, how they're doing it, and connect with them. So that's number one, right? You're not alone.
Stop isolating.
Yep. You are not alone. We're not alone. Even if it looks like the other nonprofit next door to you is doing well, they are most likely struggling as well during this time.
Yeah.
And so talk to each other, talk to other people, be a part of a network of nonprofits. The other thing is take a look at your business model. Is this a time where you could make a pivot, where you could think about operating differently, right? And what does that look like? And there are grants out there that allow organizations sort of to take the opportunity to plan, maybe do some scenario planning, to take a look at how you redo your business model, or even how you help with finances when you have a lesser amount of money to work with, right? And so there are grants out there to help nonprofits do that work and think about that. Maybe it's merging with another organization, so you guys are sharing the administrative burden. But you're both each still doing your programmatic work, because the important thing is that you get to be able to still do the programmatic work, right?
Right.
But if you can figure out how to lessen the administrative burden, that is always helpful. So maybe it's a merger with another organization, or maybe it's using a fiscal agent where they're doing all the back office stuff and you're just getting to do the programmatic work. So those are some ways that you can think about pivoting. Also, raising money in different ways than maybe you're used to, right? If you were heavily dependent on government grants, then now's the time to start asking your friends and family to make donations, and other people to make donations to your organization. Maybe it's now the time to start reaching out to some foundations and see if you can get foundation grants.
This entire conversation has me thinking about that we can't just continue to do things the way we've always done them.
Exactly.
And that's just wise in just overall operations. But in this season, especially, we cannot continue to do the things that we've always done and think we're going to survive.
That is exactly right.
You have been a mentor and a champion of countless leaders. What have you discovered about the power of women supporting women in leadership as well as philanthropy?
Yeah. One of the things, I've mentored a lot of young people in my career who are all doing very well and are leaders themselves now. And, but for a lot of the young women that I've mentored, it's been especially gratifying because many of them did not have other women in their lives that they could look to who they saw as leading, right? And so it's particularly gratifying to help another young woman grow into her own and become, the person that she envisioned for herself. I love working with all young people, but it's particularly gratifying to work with women.
You're known for driving innovation and reimagining systems.
Yeah.
What does it look like when women lead that kind of transformation?
Yeah, I'm thinking about lots of women who have done the kind of work that I've done, and who are, who are systems drivers. And a woman is coming to mind right now And I think that it's important that we are in spaces that maybe oftentimes are dominated by men, right? Or dominated by Caucasians, not women of color. And I think it's important that we show up in those spaces. I think about when I first got into philanthropy in Philadelphia, I was the only one of two Black women who were in leadership positions in philanthropy. And that was in 2010. And so I made it my mission to get on the board of Philanthropy Network of Greater Philadelphia, to have make sure philanthropies understood the importance of hiring people of color and having people of color on their board. And so I made that my mission. And now there's so many more of us in philanthropy in Philadelphia.
I could continue. I have like 10 more questions in less than 2 minutes. But I do need to ask this one because I've been having conversations with leadership groups. The significance of board presence for Black women, but people of color. Someone who recognizing we need to be represented on more boards. What advice would you give to a leader who is looking for an opportunity to, or they want to step into an opportunity to be ready to step onto a board? What advice would you give?
Yeah, so absolutely. Like, if we're not represented on boards, we're not going to be represented on the staff. We're not going to be represented in the work, right? And so the board seat is where the governance for the organization happens. So it's critically important that we are on boards. There's an organization called Leadership. Like, they have one in every city: Leadership Philadelphia, Leadership DC, Leadership Chicago. And so I recommend to a lot of people that they join the leadership. They do the leadership. It's usually like a 9-month program. And they help place people on boards too when you finish the program. And so that is someplace where you can connect with other people across different industries and meet people and connect with people, and learn about other opportunities, but also they help prepare you to go serve on boards.
Donna, I do hope I can get you on a full hour episode on the flip side of adversity, because I still have more questions.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm generally a very quiet person, so if you can get me to talk for an hour.
I think I can do it.
Okay.
I think I can do it. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to do it. But I thank you for the 10 minutes that you've given us here on the couch, and for the way that you're showing up at the conference, especially in a season and time where so many nonprofits are operating from a place of fear, and you are giving them practical, insightful wisdom to help them hold their head up and say, this is not the end.
That's right.
Pivot and create your next step in purpose. So I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jackson, for having me. It's been a pleasure to be on your couch.
Thank you so much. Can we have a hug?
Yes.
Yes.